All right, Colts fans, we are back with another edition of Into the DB Film Room. We are back for Week 3, Colts versus Titans. I wouldn't say it's as ugly as the last two ones that we've done, but definitely still not super pretty. But I'm back here with my buddy John Hagler. We are getting into this film. But John, have you watched any of this game yet besides the clips that I've shown you?
Like I said, I click through all of them. The Colts just aren't the most fun team to watch unless
Not right now.
but I do tune in. I do tune in to watch the secondary, obviously, just to see how they go and check on your favorite rock, see how he's doing, things like that. So I'll tune in for a moment, and then I'll go find a little bit more of a shootout of a game somewhere else. But
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm glad, so far Rocky Sin's played very well. We're going to talk about, obviously, his forced fumble and stuff today. But, again, not the greatest start to the Colts year, 0-3 right now. And this game, too many coverage mistakes. For a game that didn't have A.J. Brown really play at all, and then Julio Jones left in the third quarter. So you're getting beat by guys like Chester Rogers and Nick Westbrook, and Racey McMath was the guy that we were talking about before.
Hey, look, I know he had, I think it was a Senior Bowl rep. It was very, very good for the DB. Who was it? But anyway, it was the ugliest route I had seen at the Senior Bowl, and so I just haven't been a big fan of Racey since then. So the fact that he's getting off on people, and not that he's not a capable NFL player, he's a great athlete. We were talking about it a little bit off, but that guy shouldn't be beating you right now. I think he's just still too raw of a football player.
Yeah. We'll talk about here in just a second. I'm going to jump into the film, and we're going to see what went wrong, and a couple of the good things as well. We're gonna get into it all right here once I actually click the right buttons. There we go. So first clip here is actually starting out with something good, and Kenny Moore is going to be a little bit of a focus for the first couple clips here. But we got Kenny Moore in the slot here against A.J. Brown. Definitely a mismatch. No matter how much you love Kenny Moore, it's kind of similar to that DK Metcalf mismatch from a few weeks ago that we were talking about. Yeah. But I think Kenny plays this one really well. I mean, you obviously don't have the size advantage here, and A.J. Brown loves to win inside, so it's a tough place to be at right here. But I think he slides well with it. He reads that fade well, and I love how he gets in the inside hip and turns his head at the last second. I think this is just picture perfect how to defend a slot fade.
Yeah, and that's one of the hardest routes to defend. Everybody knows if you played in the slot before, if you watch it, we joke about it all the time. The slot fade's undefeated. It lost there because that was just a great job by Kenny right there. He has the inside help. He has post help on the inside. Does a good job of staying on top of AJ right here. Boom, stays patient, squeeze, they hand fight, gets to his chest. Boom, that's textbook right there. That's how you want every guy to play a slot fade right there. Stay patient. Drive to your man, stay on top of him, don't give him a chance to make that play.
Yeah, definitely. He's kind of forcing it to the outside here because he is playing a little bit where he's letting that inside open because he knows he's got that help, which is, I think, it's tough to do with A.J. Brown. You probably always want to shade a little inside. But by doing that, he's able to pinch to that sideline. He's able to get hand fighting, like you said right here. Just the hand fighting kind of throws off the route enough. And, this ball is slightly overthrown or slightly past where Brown is. So that hand fighting does play a factor and disrupts the route. Just excellent. And like you said, it's one of the hardest routes to defend, not only because, you get these freaky athletes or receivers being able to go up and get the ball, but because if the ball's underthrown even a little bit, you're going to get called for a penalty.
100%. 100%. Like it's we talk about so many like different things, I think, so far about like just tips and cues to tell like corners or DBs. But at the end of the day, if the ball's downfield, I'm just trying to disrupt that route by a little bit. These guys are good. We talk about it every week, like whether it's Robert Woods, Tyler Lockett, A.J. Brown, Julio, whoever it may be. If you can disrupt that route and that timing just a little bit, you increase your chances to win that rep. And that's exactly what he did right there.
Yep, exactly. This ball is half a step overthrown. And a big part of that is because he's able to pinch him to the sideline so well and get that hand fighting. Because right here, I mean, Kenny's getting him way outside where he's supposed to be. You want to pinch that numbers is what Brown wants to do here. And then you want to lean on Kenny and kind of come back to the outside. But, yeah, Kenny pinches him way outside where he needs to be. And that's That's the difference between winning and losing that rep. Yeah, just a good rep right there.
Good feet, active feet. Boom, let's run.
Let's do it. Cool. And now we have to do kind of the Jekyll and Hyde, that the good and the bad here. So Kenny, locks up AJ Brown down the field, and he comes right back later in the drive with getting beat by Chester Rogers for a touchdown, just like we all expected. But you and I were talking right before here about Kenny squatting on this play. So kind of walk the people through that, because right here you can kind of see that squat, and immediately when you and I were watching it when we were preparing for the show, you were like, okay, he's beat right there.
Yeah. He so you see it, you'll see if you go back and watch a replay of a corner getting beat in man coverage or getting killed on a route, a lot of times, every time it starts with their feet or their eyes. Right here for Kenny to have such good feet, he got a little too wide there. And he got a quick release from the receiver right here. Boom, gets him wide, gets him squatting, and he's lost. It's 5 yards to the end zone for that receiver. That's all the space he needs for a crafty guy like him, and you're not going to recover. You just, it's just too tough. These guys in the NFL are too good. That's why your footwork has to always be on point. Like it was a little fast, a little impatient there, and then he goes, oh, and he tries to kick slide back into position, but it's too late.
Yeah, so much of the NFL is the second that you stop moving your feet, especially as a defensive back, that like we say every week, it's kind of been the thing on our show, is that the split second, and right here it's just that one. Yeah, that one little thing. He doesn't cross his feet or anything. It's nothing too horrible.
Gets a little too wide.
Yeah, right there.
He loses that step right there, and that's all the separation. That little bit of separation that you see right there, that's all these guys need. I don't care if you said it was Rogers?
Yeah, Chester Rogers right there.
Yeah, Chester Rogers, or it can be, Odell Beckham, whoever it may be, Stephon Diggs. Like, that's all they need. You may get away with that in college, but that's the difference. That's why this is the NFL. That's why this is the highest level of football, because that little space that you see where you can see the little on the hash mark right there, that's all they need. That's all they need.
Yep. Then when he crosses the face and is able to score, and it kind of also highlights just how hard it is to play slot defender in the NFL, because so much, and I think he's actually on the line of scrimmage here, but a lot of times you'll have situations where if there's a tight end on this side, the slot receiver is going to be off the line. It's hard to press, especially if you say you want to be physical with a slot guy, it's hard to be physical with a slot receiver if he's off the line.
Yeah, I say it's so they're press aligned. It's hard to jam a guy in the slot. So, you know what I mean? It's hard that and he's got to watch out for the DN right there. So maybe he's not getting exactly in the position that he wants to get in. So it looks like he's lined up head up. It's not horrible. You know what I mean? Honestly, I think he probably, after that rep, his feet and everything were good. He closed extremely well. That's why I said he may be able to get away with that if he was in college. But it's not college football anymore. He's a vet. He knows that. I say it every week. It's tough. You know what I mean? You always have to be on in the NFL. You can get exposed, and you will get exposed. These guys they're too good, and they get paid too much money not to be.
Yep. And even a guy like Chester Rogers, who we know Colts fans laughed about for years. He was with the Colts for 4 years, and the guy who Chester Rogers drops everything, which he did drop one for an interception later in this game, which it is kind of funny that it happened like that.
It is ironic.
Yeah, but Chester Rogers is I think he's a 6 or 7 year vet at this point. He's gonna, if you give him a little bit of space, he's still gonna be able to win. That's kind of what happened there. This next clip is our weekly. I want to say it's like our weekly guess. It's kind of what it is, and I hate saying that because I we're coming on here as the quote unquote experts, but so much of this is just kind of a guessing game for us because we're not in that meeting room. We don't know exactly what's going on. And what I was saying before here, and what I was probably saying on Twitter during the game, is you think this is on Xavier Rhodes when you're watching broadcast and you're watching a live game, because it's the guy that Rhodes is over. You saw Zaire Franklin carry the guy. You're like, oh, this is man across the board. Xavier Rhodes just didn't carry his man. But when you really get into breaking this down, it's probably zone coverage. I mean, it's almost certainly zone coverage across the board. And you were talking to me before we jumped on here about choke. About what you guys call choke. Do you want to explain that to the people watching what choke is in this situation?
Yeah. So for me, from my experience, we ran a 4-2-5 back in college, and this was one of my favorite plays when I lined up in the nickel. I know it's not It's a linebacker out here, but it's the
Mhm.
same thing. It's a 4-man front right here. You got 2 backers, a Mike and a Will, and then we have our Sam backer, which typically in the 4-2-5, your Sam, your nickel, your star, your money, all that good stuff. He's lined up exactly where I would be, right?
Mhm.
We got our corner sitting outside here, our top, the corner of field up there. He's sitting up out top, outside. We got an open field look right here. They're covering, half and half, right?
Yep.
So for me, what this looked like, it looked like some sort of choke. And when I say that, the corner's going to play a hard corner. He's going to do what he does in cover 2. Let that guy. He can't let that guy get outside of. So he's going to open up, squeeze to anything vertical. When that number 2 receiver goes vertical, the Sam, whatever you want to call it, the strong side backer right here, can carry that guy vertical, carry the number 2 receiver vertical on his low hip, right? Safety's going to play over the top, and then he delivers to the
Right there.
safety.
Yep.
He can jump anything underneath. So if that guy was to run a 10-yard out, he can jump it. Safety plays, over the top, and we keep it moving. It looks like zone across the board. But I can see why on a broadcast view, it looks like somebody messed up. And this is why I hate, like we talked about it, I hate guessing because it looks like that Mike should have pushed this window a little bit more. They're not in man. They're not. Nobody's playing man on this football field
Yeah, you could see
at all.
zone eyes,
Yeah,
zone eyes, zone eyes, zone
yeah.
eyes.
Zone eyes and zone drops across the board.
Yep.
I think he gets. I think our Mike right here looks like he has bad eyes right here.
Mhm.
It looks like he got caught up staring at Henry on the run fake. He didn't push that window, and when this slant came in, I think it was just too much grass.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from right here, I mean, again, the little read step is fine because it is Derrick Henry. You might have to fill, but from there, you got to be hauling ass, right? If this really is choke call, which I'm pretty confident it is from the way you and I were talking about it, you got to haul ass right here. This is where you have to be, and even if that's going to be a reception, if he's right here, that's a 5-yard reception, not a touchdown.
Oh yeah, you just got to be there to make the play. I think
Yeah.
I can see why he was looking in the backfield, but it looks like he's glued on Tannehill.
Mhm.
Like I think whenever I was in zone, if you're in zone, I think you gotta peek and see what's coming at you. Because at the end of the day, your job in zone is to relate to the nearest threat in your zone.
Yep.
If
Yeah,
that
you're right.
threat,
He's not getting it. He's not really reading anything in his periphery at all. He's
yeah.
he's dead set forward. And he's not moving, with what's coming his way. Right. He's just kind of seeing what's in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a weird one. When we initially checked it out, both corners are doing the same thing. They're squeezing, or they're dropping and sinking off underneath. They're playing hard outside, or they're squeezing outside. I think that's on Mike. I hate guessing, but it looks like the Mike should be closer to that window, to that throw.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's on Bobby Okereke there. I think he definitely needs to get to that window. But again, it's hard for us to know that. For all we know, it could have been Zaire Franklin was not supposed to carry this guy, and he was supposed to be in that window. That's also a possibility.
Yeah, 100%.
It could have just been Franklin completely misread what the coverage was supposed to be there. So those are probably the two possibilities. The only thing I'm very confident in saying is Xavier Rhodes is doing his job here. This is not a touchdown allowed by him. He's playing that outside zone. I mean, you can see at the top of the screen, even though this receiver gets outside here, he's pinching it so close to the sideline, it's cover 2. And the safety is going to be over top of that. It's cover 2 across the board. It either is the fault of this touchdown really lies on Okereke not getting to a spot or Zaire Franklin just not knowing the coverage call.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think going forward to see if I can find out or see if somebody can,
It's funny. I faintly remember, and I should have put it in here now, but now that I'm looking at it, I faintly remember a play later in the game. It was actually towards like the middle of the field where Tannehill tried to throw a hole shot on like a C route from the slot.
Okay.
And I faintly remember a slot defender trailing, this guy fading right underneath, and the safety over top. I'll have to look for that afterwards and see if we can put something together. But I think that might be an example of choke as well.
I mean, because it works, especially when you get a team, they like to, run vertical routes with, say they got a decent slot. AJ Brown, whoever it may be, it's perfect for guys like that. If you want to stop them, and this could have been in the game plan already, even with AJ Brown going down. If I'm running a slot fade right here, I'm throwing AJ Brown.
Yeah,
I would love to put a choke call on and just take him out of the game plan.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know what? You're right. It could have been just a game plan here thing where it's like you kind of bait the quarterback into trying to throw this fade with a linebacker on AJ Brown, but you're going to have the safety and the corner choking on that. So yeah, it probably is just a game plan thing, anticipating that AJ Brown's going to be in there. Yep. But from there we go to the run stop of the week. Some people's favorite part of the show, some people's least favorite. I don't know. It depends if you like the passing league or not. But this is just the perfect example of what we call spill defense. So if you guys don't know, the two common types of defense when it comes to run defense is either spill defense or box defense. Box defense, you're going to have your defensive ends crashing outside of the edge blocker. So if this tight end's blocking on this side, your box defender will crash to the outside of it. If you're doing spill defense, that whatever way the ball is going, you're going to have your defensive end crashing inside. And then when that defensive end crashes inside, linebacker fills and replaces. And then if another blocker's coming, linebacker crashes inside, and the next guy fills and replaces. So that's kind of what the Colts like to do. They like to do that spill defense where, the defensive line will crash down, create that havoc. So if it is an inside run, the defensive lineman has an easy path to combat that. And then if it is to this side, you kind of have those guys spilling in. You have everybody kind of involved in run defense. This is just perfect example of spill. You got Al-Qadim Muhammad going in. Darius Leonard comes in, and he's able to undercut that wide receiver. And then Kenny Moore makes the one-on-one tackle with Derrick Henry, which it's insane when you think about it, because Derrick Henry's a 4.4 speed running back, 250 pounds.
Yeah.
Kenny Moore is 5'8", 170, 180.
It's all about, people say it all the time, it's all about effort and want to. You know what I mean? Like tackling, I think tackling and blocking is just like rebounding in basketball, right?
Yeah.
It's effort. It's effort. At the end of the day, it's effort, because you can be, I think we said it a couple weeks ago, you can be 175 pounds. If I throw my entire body into you, it's just hard. Yep. It's just hard for me not to imagine your knee going back unless you just want to blow it out. It's just hard. And, you see guys like Kenny Moore, I think, because he was in the first week, he had that really good play too.
Yeah, where he knocked the running back's arm down. It was Chris Carson in the first week too, another big running back.
He's a horse. You know what I mean? Like some of these guys, he's just really, 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 really good at football. You know what I mean? Like he's willing. He's a willing tackler. That's why, when you evaluate corners or you evaluate DBs, it's always a plus, right? He's a willing tackler. Like we saw it. That's one of Marlon Humphrey's best traits when he was in college. He will come down and smack you. You saw C.J. Henderson a couple years ago get knocked for it, and people, crucified him for it because he did not want to tackle. He has no interest in tackling. And when you get guys
or interested in football in general, from what we're kind of hearing lately.
Hey, you can't. I can't make you love it, but so you see guys like Kenny Moore coming in on Derrick Henry. He's fitting perfect. This receiver's cracking down. He comes right off his butt, and he knows he has to go. Right here, boom. He triggers right away.
And there's no hesitation. No hesitation. No. It's Derrick Henry. No hesitation for Kenny.
And so much of that, he's back there, but so much of that is just reactive. It's just reaction right there. It's I have a job to do. It's just like when you have an alley and you're at safety. I don't know what's coming through here. I don't know if it's a guard. I don't know if it's a running back. I don't know what's coming through here, but I got to meet it. And if whoever pops up in there, so be it. And that's what Kenny Moore did right there. Great play by him.
Yep, absolutely. And then going from one good play to another, we've got Rock Ya-Sin forcing a huge fumble that unfortunately didn't sway the outcome of this game. But it started off as a pretty ugly rep. And when we were talking beforehand, kind of preparing for this show, it's interesting that he opens up so quick against a big receiver, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just him for me, like I said it before, typically the fast guys are the ones that make you speed up and you just turn and run, which is a mistake also. He's already he beats himself right here. He crosses over and he runs right away. And
right there,
if you watch a guy like Kenny, if you say Kenny, that rep where Kenny got beat, or Kenny, he played the fade, right?
Yeah, we can go to that right
Brown
now.
Couldn't have went inside and won that rep if he wanted to, right? Because he still can. So he's good. He's not crossover. He's still square. If AJ Brown was to go inside, he can plant off that left foot and he squeezes to the shoulder, and he's still in great position. At
Yep.
no point on the rep we were just watching is Rock Ya-Sin in a position to win the rep.
Yep. Like
Blind
right there,
spot,
it's over.
he gave
Right
up
there,
his
it's
blind
over.
spot right away.
Yep.
And once you get turned and running, like it's the NFL, dog. Like they're gonna take you through there.
It's kind of like that TJ Carey one we looked at last week, where Carey crossed over his own feet,
Yeah,
kind of early in the rep, and it was over from there.
yeah, and that's why, like in the off season, not necessarily in the season, like you have to be so meticulous with your craft, like because you have to get those reps in, because that one bad rep you have in a game can and will get exposed, and that's what you don't want. And he does a good job of recovering. When you look at the speed turn, he does a good job of giving his head around and being in a position to make a football play. Boom, get my head around, whip it around, stay on top of him, and then he gets his arm in there, and then at this point he's just being a football player, and I love this because he makes up for it.
Yep. And it's actually funny because the last 2 weeks we've been talking really good about Rock Ya-Sin. We've been saying good and press, like he's doing a lot of good things, but he's just not making those football plays. So it was great to see that in this game where, even though he's getting beat, he is just making that football play, like you said. And he's being a difference maker. We've seen this with Kenny Moore the last couple of years where, he's not the most perfect quarter. He's going to get beat every now and then, but he makes those big plays, makes those football plays. And Rock Ya-Sin shows it right here.
Yeah, think about, if I just throw a couple names out there, oh my God, Jack Rabbit. You see him, right? But his whole career, he will be known as a playmaker. He's not going to be known as a slightly above average corner. He's just not, like, people are going to remember the pick sixes. They're going to remember the interceptions. They're going to remember the loud Marcus Peters. All you see is picks, right? He gets beat a lot. I don't know if people realize that he gets beat a lot, but he makes a ton of plays. And that's what people remember. So if Rock Ya-Sin makes enough of these plays, it makes up for the ones that you get beat on. Like it does. At the end of the day, people care about big plays, big moments, and critical moments where you're making that clutch play.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way the NFL is now. Like everything is set up for the offense. Even if you're going against the worst offense versus the best defense, if there's an underthrown ball, it's going to be pass interference on the defense always, and you could be doing everything right. So in a game where you're kind of set up to fail and to get beat, you got to make these game-changing plays like this. And this is for example, you got beat, but this is a net win for the defense because you made a play and made something happen.
And you get the ball, you get up, and you get yards. Like that's anytime you can help the offense, like as a defensive player, that's a super bonus. So great job by him for just being a football player right there. A good one. A good football player on that one.
Rock Ya-Sin's our player of the week each week, every week, until he gets beat down the field on one of these, and we'll take it back for that week.
Hey, knock on wood.
This next one here, we got a veteran corner making kind of like a rookie mistake here where he just panics, man. And this is kind of, again, just the NFL where you can do everything right as a corner, but you're still going to get flagged for it. And
this is annoying. This is the one that annoys me. It's not that I can still be critical of him, but you don't throw that flag. Like that's so, I say soft. Like I hate that people talk about how football is soft these days. Like that's horrible. Like at some point you have to let them play, because we've seen refs let guys play through more contact than that. I think right here, because it's a shot, and who's he guard right here?
Nick Westbrook.
Okay, so like you see him, he's being physical, and like I said, I think it's Xavier Rhodes, he lost a step. You know what I mean? Still, he's such a physical guy. Maybe he had a little panic in him. He wants to be physical. He wants to get his hands on you, but I don't like that, because that's okay to me. And obviously I'm biased. But I feel like at some point, you know what I mean, you have to let them play football and make the offense earn it. Like and it's a spot foul in the NFL. Like that's, if you throw that flag, that's a game-changing flag right there. It should be looked at as any other game-changing flag. Like you just gave them 40 yards.
Yep, I'm with you, man. Like again, I want to critique Rhodes for I think he gets his head back a little late. He does get a little bit of contact right here, which he's been in the league for long enough to where he knows he can't be doing that. But man, like I hate flags that bail out. Like I hate flags that bail out bad offense, and I've said it multiple times already on this show this week already with the underthrown balls on deep passes and stuff. This is kind of like that, where Rhodes pinches this guy to the sideline. It's a desperation deep ball that's into blanket coverage with the safety over top. Like, it's not ever, in no way possible is this ball ever going to be completed. And
No,
it's just a bailout.
unless it's Odell Beckham on Will Blackman a couple years ago. That's the only that one ball. I was just like, "There's no way," and then you see him catch it. But yeah, no, there's some things that Rhodes could have did better. I think he could have stayed on top of him a little bit better. He was in a good position there. All he had to do was, I think, squeeze, maybe initiate contact earlier. He probably doesn't get called for a flag there because he's in a dominant position. Once you're downfield, like I said, like, your clock gets sped up, you panic a little bit, you want to get your head around, you don't really know. He's savvy. If you go watch the old mic'd up with Antonio Brown, he's doing little tricks and things like that. It's a part of the game. Sometimes you get caught, sometimes you don't. So
yeah, it's just crummy because this leads to the touchdown we're about to talk about here next. I think it did, or maybe this was a little bit earlier. The final clip we're going to talk about is actually not a defensive back clip, but it's one that I feel like we need to talk about because it's something that I posted it on Twitter, and I had some people pushing back on me, although for the most part people were understanding what I was saying and stuff like that. But to me, this was completely on Darius Leonard, the linebacker here at the bottom of the screen, and I'm glad that right away you completely agreed with me. So first off, before we jump into the clip, this is an egregious touchdown allow by a defense. And no way possible, if you're sitting in the cover 2 zone, should you allow a flat pass to the running back on 3rd and goal from the 10 to score. It should never happen. Like, they're like, if they beat you over the top, they beat you to the corner, that's whatever. But if they should not beat you in the flats. And right here, I mean, Darius Leonard just kind of gets his lax in his drop. He abandons his flat that he's supposed to be in right here, and the running back beats him to the corner for a touchdown. But when you first watched this, because I didn't tell you anything actually before you said immediately that's on the guy at the bottom of the screen, what did you see that kind of pointed to it being on Leonard here?
Well, right away he turned and opened up. So, like, that's a hard football play to make anyway. Clearly he's the flat defender. I was like, you have to. It's the NFL. You're one of the best linebackers in the game, right? The highest paid, whatever. That back is wide. He's coming out. In what world are you going to turn and run with a receiver instead of just widening and getting depth? Because I can run to the flats. I can run to the flats if I got eyes on it. I'm trying to make that throw as hard as possible, that corner ball as hard as possible, and we run. It's third and goal. We run into the flats and make that tackle, and I get it. But you got to put yourself in a position to make the play. You take yourself out of position to make a play when you turn and run like that. That's lazy football. Like, I hate being super critical of, like, they're some of the best athletes on the planet. You know what I mean? Like, and Leonard's an FCS guy. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm always rooting for him. But that's just bad football right there. That's horrible football right there.
Yeah, and it's kind of like what you said with depth. We highlighted a clip last week of Rock Ya-Sin, where it was 3rd and long, I think 3rd and 15 or 16 or whatever, and Julian Black made a nice play, but Rock Ya-Sin got great depth on his outside zone drop. But he also was in a position to make a tackle underneath. He was square, and he got to, like, right around here in his drop, and it was where you need to be. And this one, like you said, it's just lazy. It really is. And for what you guys, if you guys didn't catch it, when he said the splits of the running back, essentially when the running back is even with the quarterback, and they have this type of wide split, that running back's always going out for a pass. It's just how, because I mean, it's tough to pass protect from this.
Trying to widen him out to get out there faster.
Yeah. So Leonard, I mean, he's been in the league for long enough to where, like, when you see this, he's not going to be. I mean, he might be running like a C route or something like that, but he's going to be in the flats.
But you have to there's high school kids, and he knows. Like, on film, there's no way he went back and was like, he probably was like, oh shit, like that's probably what happened. But he knows that, like, there's high school kids doing that stuff. They're alerting that back. You know what I mean? And I just think he made a mistake there by turning and running. I don't know of any zone techniques of him doing that. Maybe it's something new. But I have to think he'll do a good job by getting depth and just widening.
Yeah, I think you got
back corner of the end zone.
Yeah, you got to shuffle here. You kind of got to get that depth right here and kind of shuffle right there. And then and I had people pushing, but the big thing that I had people pushing back on was right here. People were saying if he doesn't get this depth, then the tight end's going to score or something. The tight end's going to hit the corner. One, that would be on your safety for not being where he's supposed to be. But two, you can take away that corner route by being square and being right here than being facing on the inside and being right here.
No, yeah, 100%. That's
Like
why
here,
when you see zone droppers, like a lot of them are square and they have incredible depth. Your job when you're a hook curl defender or you're a flat defender, you're trying to elevate the throws to make them harder. I don't want to give him a clear window or an open window to where he can just fire a shot in there. I know it's the NFL, but these guys, they miss these throws. They overthrow these throws. They have to get 2 feet in. So if the deeper I get, and it's 3rd and goal. It's 3rd and goal. It's not like it's, hey, that's fine. Make him throw to the end zone. Well, we can't, or make him throw to the flats right away so we can run to it.
Yep.
But you can make that a hard throw for him, and it's 3 defenders over here. He's gonna have to put that ball in the bucket to score a touchdown. And you live with it. If he does do that, you live with it. But you don't give this up. You don't give up a little 5-yard, out by the running back and then let him run it in. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, this is where I was talking right here. Like when you freeze it right here, he's in no position to make this tackle, especially with the state of his ankle. Like, I think Darius Leonard, fully healthy, probably knocks this guy out at the 1 or 2 yard line, which with Derrick Henry, they probably score from the 1 or 2 yard line anyway. But from right here, with the state of his ankles, you have no chance of making this play. If he and this is what I was trying to push back with people, and I figured it'd be a better place to talk about in the video here, is if he's square and right here, he's doing just the same to take away this corner route than what he is doing right here. And the result is a touchdown because he's in no position, because when the guy catches it, or when the ball's just about to be caught, he's in this position. You're not going to be a running back to the corner from that position.
Well, yeah, well, his hips locked, and he's going to have crazy, change of direction. Like you said, he's not healthy. And you mentioned it before. He's not the best coverage linebacker. Like, what is he doing out there? So, I mean, it's interesting. It's bad ball by the Colts defense, by Leonard right here. I'll say not the defense. You just gotta you fix that. You fix that on film. You fix that when you come in on Tuesday or whatever day they come in, and then you keep it moving. But that's not a play you can live with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, from us doing this show, we're kind of seeing way too many of those plays right there, where it's the plays that you got to fix. It's like, okay, well, at some point we're sitting at 0-3 right now.
Yeah, there's a trend.
Historically, it's I think 2% of teams make the playoffs after starting 0-3, and that's probably going to change a little bit with the 17 game season.
Yep, it'll move.
But maybe up to 5% instead of 2%. So you get to the point where you can't keep saying, "Oh, this needs to get better. This needs to get better." It's like, well, you need to start doing it.
So I was looking at I know just because I'm all into the corners and safeties of the draft next year, and I'm all the way into this next group. The Colts go DB, quarterback. What do you think the Colts do next year? And I know you'll probably talk about it in some of your draft stuff, but just curious because we talk about DB so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially because Rhodes is probably not going to be back after this year. I mean, he'll be 32, I think, after the season.
He's long in the tooth, so
yeah. So you'll need another outside guy. Hopefully Rock keeps up this mostly good play, and you go into the draft thinking, okay, we have a good, solid cornerback duo in Kenny Moore and Rock Ya-Sin. We just need to find that alpha dog that can shut down. Like, if we need a guy who could shut down on number one, then I think corner is going to be really high on the list. Now, I don't know how high Ballard's going to go with that, because besides Rock Ya-Sin, for the most part, he likes to draft his corners on day 3.
Yeah.
But that'll probably have to change if
I think so. I think just between the guys you got now, with Xavier Rhodes being old, Kenny Moore more of a specialist, I feel like it's one of the. Now, I don't know how you feel about the receiving core. Obviously, with Pittman getting more targets lately, do you go receiver or do you want to go? How do you feel about your quarterback situation? Are you going to be really bad? And if you're picking in the top, 6 or 7, do you go quarterback here? Do you like this quarterback class enough, or do you secure your defense? You know what I mean? It's not like it's an incredible quarterback class. Like, last year's group looked phenomenal, and they're all struggling. And so I'm interested, because I know I was looking at Elam, because Xavier Rhodes, I think they're similar. Maybe I'm not the biggest Ahmad Gardner fan. Just I think stylistically with some of the zone stuff they like to do. I'm curious if those guys, popped up on your radar for your Colts.
Yeah, it's probably early, and we'll talk about it more as the season goes on. But yeah, there's a lot of guys I like Booth out of Clemson.
Yeah, he's real good. Yeah,
the way that he comes downhill is so good for this scheme, and I'm just like, I love it. I don't even need to see much more outside of him blowing up a couple wide receivers.
I just wanted to throw that out there. I want to take all your draft stuff, but just watching the corners, I can't help but think about next year's group, and I think it's a decent group. That's why I was just curious. So.
No, I mean, I think we could even say at this point right now, regardless of what happens with Rocky Sin or Xavier Rhodes, say he becomes an All-Pro the rest of the year, it still might be. You still have to think about what's next after him. And if Rocky Sin proves to be a cornerback one the rest of the way, which I think is probably not going to happen, you still need to get that cornerback too. So I still think it's going to be a need no matter what happens. If they win 2 games this year, if they win the last 15, their last 14 or whatever, they're going to probably need a corner in this upcoming class. So we'll definitely do a lot of stuff like that in the off season, and I'm sure and talk about some of our favorites. We'll just do all Andrew Booth stuff, just him blowing up.
He's good, man. He has some crazy interceptions, and I love watching him. So he's not a bad guy to have a draft crush on. So
yeah, for sure. But for right now, the focus is Week 4, Jacoby Brissett versus the Colts defensive backs. Now, we talked the first 3 weeks. Each week we were like, okay, they got Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and Russell Wilson. Then they got Stafford and Kupp and Woods, and then they got AJ Brown, Julio Jones, Tannehill. They're going to go against these elite trios on offense.
Yep.
Now this is the week where we're going to really find out about this defensive back group, because you can make some of these were against Nick Westbrook and Chester Rogers, so I guess we can't really make excuses there. But look, you can make some excuses though when you're going against top talent. But when you are going against Jacoby Brissett, Devontae Parker, Albert Wilson, Jalen Waddle, who doesn't catch a pass past 3 yards apparently.
No.
Just
get to him and run.
You gotta. This is the week where you gotta put up or shut up, and you can't have these coverage breakdowns against. An offense. You should be able to at least not maybe completely shut down, but have success against.
Yeah, no, I think they should. As long as they don't have some of those lapses that we've seen the first couple of weeks, they should do pretty well against Miami. It'll be interesting to see how Miami uses Gesicki and Waddle this week. Because Waddle's too big of a threat, but obviously, with Tua out, are they going to push the ball downfield? Gesicki, we probably will see more of him. He had a big game last week. It'll be interesting. I think they match up well with some of the stuff they like to do schematically, and I think next week will look a lot better. I'm hoping.
Yeah, hopefully. So far, we had 6 clips the first week, 6 the second week, and 7 this week. And I would probably wager that's 19 clips. I would probably wager that like 14 of them have been bad, or 13 of them have been bad.
Yeah.
3
of them have been run.
Yeah, 3 of them in the run time. All right, we are begging for pass deflections and interceptions, and not just tip ball interceptions. We're looking for
good breaks. I want footwork. I want to see some money being made. Like I want to see some viral clips where I can repost it and say great rep, and I get 1,000 retweets on it.
We need we need Kenny Moore one-handed picks against Darren Waller again. We need more of that this week. That's 100%, what we need.
100%.
Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week to break down more defensive back play that the Colts are doing, and again, hopefully it's better clips than what we've seen thus far. But catch us next week, guys, for another episode of Into the DB Film Room.